What kind of teachers do you hate the most? Teachers who don't have patience with kids and when a teacher is actually the school bully. My prep school had a lot of horrible teachers. Most of them did not have the patience to be teachers, especially when working with small kids. Many kids would get yelled at for the stupidest things and for doing nothing wrong. It wasn't uncommon to ask a simple question and get your head bitten off. What I hated in particular was when someone got into trouble for doing something, nothing wrong, and they tried to politely explain what they were doing and the teacher snapped with, "Don't talk back to me." So instead of taking a moment to understand the kid's side, the mentality was basically, "I'm the teacher, you just shut up." But the worst is when a teacher is a bully, not showing favoritism, not turning a blind eye to certain things, but actually going out of their way and abusing their role as a teacher to just be the school bully. I had one English teacher like that, and she had it in for me, big time. This miserable person would find any excuse to give me trouble. One of her class rules was if you finished work early, you had to do some small extra activity sheets until the lesson was done and stick them into a book when done. These activities were super basic, so I flew through them, and on my third activity she yelled at me, asking what I was doing. When I answered, she ranted about how I was wasting sheets and how she had to make more copies of them. Even when I reiterated her rule, she found some excuse to keep going at me. Yet, a few days prior, she was bragging about how other kids had already filled up 2 50-page books of these activities, whereas my book never even got a quarter full during the 2 years I had her for English. If I had to borrow stationery from her, I'd always ask. She would see where I took the stationery from but always yelled at me, and only me, for never putting things back in their right place even though I did. My school also strongly encouraged reading, so as an initiative in 2nd and 3rd grade, each week you had to check out a book from the school library, and then the following week return it and select another one. This woman was also the librarian. One week I forgot my book at home, so I still checked out another book and the following week brought both back in perfect condition. My God, the yelling I got in front of everyone. Now suddenly, there was always a rule that only one book could be checked out at a time. In 3rd grade, she called me out in front of everyone, holding a library card up and asking where the book was. I told her I checked it back in weeks ago, and her only argument was that she had the card and it wasn't in its book, so I must have it. She even got the school to issue a notice to my parents with a fee to replace the book. My mom, who believed my side of the story, marched me into the library after school to look for the book. We found it and confronted the teacher. Her only response was a miserable, "Oh," no apology, nothing. Even when I no longer had her as a teacher, she still gave me trouble whenever possible. One year, it was the end of November, school was basically done for the year, so each class was like a free period, and we could keep ourselves busy with whatever we wanted. My friend and I each had a ball of press stick and sculpted things out of it. Mrs. Bitch walked in to speak to the teacher of that class, also one of the horrible ones, and on her way out she passed my desk, pointed at my press stick, and asked where I got it from. I told her I brought it from home, and without a word she confiscated it. My friend, who also had press stick out, didn't even get a glance from her. My mom helped me get the press stick back, but about half of it was missing because she used it, and I had no way to prove it. She had a very notorious reputation and did things like this to a lot of kids. The grade below me nicknamed her the Antichrist Mother, and in high school, the grades above me treated the mention of her name like Voldemort. One high school assembly, the principal made an announcement about her, starting with, "We have some very sad news today. Mrs. Godden." People perked up with excitement here until the principal finished saying, "His husband passed away last night." I kid you not, there were multiple audible groans of disappointment heard in the hall. After assembly, while everyone was leaving the hall, people were talking about how they were hoping it was her that died. That should give you an idea of what a tyrant she was. Since then, I've sworn that sure, if my kids misbehave or whatever in school, they should deal with the consequences. But if a teacher goes out of their way to do that kind of thing to them, I will have them out of a job, either proving they're bullying my kids or becoming such a deliberate thorn in their side that they resign.